Hey everyone, I'm Amanda and this is Mommy's Reading Chair. I was tagged in the Rapid Fire book tag by Christina, aka Northwest Reader. If you haven't checked out her channel, I will link it below. Thank you for the tag. This one I think is supposed to be kind of like a quick answer. That's why it's called Rapid Fire. I do tend to be a little wordy, so I will do my best to not be super wordy. But let's just go ahead and do this. All right. Ebook or physical book? Physical book for the most part. However, there are times when an ebook is better, and that is when I'm at the gym, on the treadmill, or if I am laying in bed and I don't want to use a book light. It's backlit, so that's another time. But generally speaking, I do prefer physical books. All right, next question is paperback or hardback? 100% paperback. I love the look of a hardback, but paperbacks just are more comfortable for me to read. They're just more comfortable to hold. I actually have this sitting here, the Goldfinch. I like the big floppy paperbacks. Like, that's one of the best things ever. Is that not the best ever? I love how most like big paperbacks like this stay open, and paperbacks for the win. Next question, online or in-store book shopping? Okay, I prefer the experience of going into a physical bookstore, but I like the price of online shopping. So that's a tough one. If money is not an issue, then in-store shopping for sure. But if we're talking about just in general, right now, if I was to go buy a book, it would be online. Okay, next question, trilogies or series? That's a tough one. I love a good series, but I don't always stick with a series. I don't know if anyone else does that. Like sometimes I'll just read 2 or 3 of a series, and then I guess it's a trilogy at that point because I won't finish the series. But I do like books that continue on, like not just a standalone book. Okay, next question, heroes or villains? I think villains. I think that a book is really, really well written when you have a really, really good bad guy. So I like to find out what's driving them to be awful. So yeah, definitely villains. Next, a book you want everyone to read. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simons. That book it will just rip your heart out, but it's so good. So that one, definitely. I learned a lot. It's a historical fiction, and it's just so beautiful and so wonderful and so sad, but I learned so much, and I fell in love with the characters, and I definitely recommend that to anyone who is saying, I want a new book to read, The Bronze Horseman. All right, next question is recommend an underrated book. The first one that popped into my head is actually one that I haven't read in a really long time. I read it a while ago. It's called The Silence of Six, which is like a young adult thriller. I really enjoyed that book. Another one is The Bookseller, and I can't remember the author's name for either of those stories, but The Bookseller I just finished, and it was so good. And I had never heard of it before, and I had never heard anyone recommend it before. I just happened to snag it on my Kindle, and it was really enjoyable. So The Silence of Six and The Bookseller. The last book you finished, I actually have it right here, is The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. It was excellent. I am currently working on a reading vlog for this week, so I'll be talking a lot about this, and I'm hopefully posting that this weekend, so keep an eye peeled for that. But this book was super good. I just finished it this morning. The last book you bought. I just recently went to a library sale. There's a video on that. So you can see a whole stack of books that I just recently purchased. One of those books, the first one that pops into mind is Saving Fish from Drowning by Amy Tan. I just bought that book. There's a whole slew of them though. All right, weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. Anything, whatever is closest to me. Sometimes when you're a mom and you're reading and your kid starts screaming or, starts climbing something or doing something he's not supposed to be doing, sometimes you gotta run. So you pick up whatever's closest. I also don't tend to use bookmarks lately because my son loves to pull them out of the book and play with them, and then I lose my place. So I've actually been doggy-eared. Like, I hate bending the pages of a book, but it's like my only option right now if I want to know where I left off. Next question. Used books, yes or no? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. They're cheaper. You can usually tell when a book is really good because it'll be really used. Yeah, 100%. I love used books. They save you money. Usually you can find some really cool gems in a used bookstore. You have to search, but you can find some really cool used books. Yeah, absolutely used books. Top 3 favorite genres. Okay. Contemporary fiction, historical fiction, and we'll go with thriller. I do really love a good fantasy book. That's a tough one, but I'm gonna put thriller in my top 3, but definitely contemporary fiction and historical fiction too. Borrow or buy. I tend to buy these days. I love the library. Like, I adore going to the library, but I just always feel like if I check out a book, I'm not going to have enough time to actually sit down and read the whole thing before it's due. And that gives me anxiety. So I don't go to the library much anymore. But there was a time where I'm pretty sure I was like working minimum wage down at whatever retail place I was working at the time. And I couldn't afford to buy books as quickly as I was reading them. So I got a lot at the library then. Characters or plot? Definitely characters. Like, a character-driven story, it doesn't even have to be a good plot at that point. Like, I will be fascinated because I'm so invested in the characters. But if you have a great plot, but the characters are not developed, then I will lose interest. So definitely characters. Next question is long or short books. Well, my favorites are all super, super long books, but there are some times where you're just in the mood for a short book. Like, sometimes after I read, I'm going to hold up The Goldfinch again because it's huge. After I finished this, I wanted a short book because it was such a project. Sometimes you just need something to kind of like cleanse the palate, I guess you could say. But I do love me some really long books. Next question is long or short chapters. So, contrary to long books, I like short chapters because I feel like I'm getting more read, which is stupid because I'm not. I'm reading the same amount and reading the same speed, but I feel like I'm accomplishing more with short chapters. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. I also don't like stopping in the middle of a chapter, and so sometimes if it's a super long chapter, like I've read books that have like 50, 60 page chapters, and I'm just like, oh, I don't have time to read 60 pages right now. And I hate stopping in the middle of a chapter. So I do prefer short. Name the first 3 books you think of. Okay. The Life We Bury by Alan Eskins. This is hard. The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. And The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. Is it The Little Friend or Little Friend? The Little Friend. I had to double check. The Little Friend. Books that make you laugh or cry. I like sad books. Yeah. I don't know why. Next, our world or fictional worlds? Both. Like, I really, really love a good fantasy novel, but, you know, I love historical fiction, and that's all this world, you know? So I would say I probably prefer our world stories over fictional. Audiobooks, yes or no? I feel like I'm the only person in the entire world. But no, I don't like audiobooks. I want to like audiobooks, but every time I listen to an audiobook, I tune it out. Like, I don't even pay attention to it. Like, I tried audiobooks at the gym for a long time, and I started with Divergent, which, bleh, and I just couldn't focus on it. I could not focus on it. And then I tried it like at home, maybe where I wasn't preoccupied at the gym, but I couldn't pay attention to it. And I think I also tried audiobook of Lilac Girls, which is a wonderful book, and I just couldn't listen. I couldn't do it. So maybe I'll try audiobooks again, but no. That answer actually makes me sad too, because I want to. I just can't do it. Next, do you ever judge a book by its cover? Oh yeah. I'm really bad about that. I'm really bad about that. I usually try to let the back of the book or the description on Goodreads be the deciding factor on whether or not I'm going to read it. But yeah, I definitely judge a book by its cover. I am a sucker for a beautiful cover. Next question is book to movie or book to TV adaptations? This specifically really depends on the book. I don't have an answer for this. I think, for example, the Game of Thrones series, I think that they did a wonderful job with the TV show. I also think Outlander is a great book series to go to TV, but there are some that would not do well on TV. So I don't have a preference. Next question is a movie or TV show you preferred to its book. This is actually something that is argued a lot in my life, but I preferred the movie The Hobbit over the book. I know. I loved the movies. I loved the actors they had. I loved the movies so much more than I loved the book. Oh, Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. I have read that book. It's a good book, but I loved the movie. Last but not least, series or standalones. I don't have a preference. I really, really love a good series, but just like the long or short books, sometimes you just need something that's going to be boom, boom, done. But I do love a good series. So I'm going to go with series for my final answer, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy a good standalone story either. Once again, thank you for tagging me, Christina, and I'm going to go ahead and tag a couple of people. Let's tag Rustic Pages. If you don't follow her, you need to. Her Instagram is gorgeous. Let's also tag Tia and All the Books. And someone who I just recently subscribed to, and I love all of her videos so far, that is lisamariereads. So hopefully you guys see this and you guys do the rapid fire tag as well. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. I've got them all. They're all listed below. And don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell. See you next time.